Howdy banger pals, Blayne Smith welcoming you to another Overkill Reviews, Banger's weekly metal review show. Interestingly, like Ian, I am also known as Brazilian Blayne because I got a big old BBL done. Sorry, okay, we have to be serious now because we're reviewing black metal and only serious people are allowed to talk about black metal. Today we are talking about the new album from Abigail Williams. It's called A Void Within Existence. It comes out today, July 18th on Agonia Records. Agonia? Have I been saying that wrong? So probably. I mean, you can let me know in the comments how I'm supposed to say it, and then I'll just continue to say it wrong. Abigail Williams are an American black metal band that have been around for like 2 decades now. Core member Ken Sorceron is once again joined by 3 whole new dudes. Apparently, Abigail Williams is going for a world record by having the most band members over 6 albums ever. I never got into Abigail Williams for the reason some people I know didn't. Their first album attempted to blend symphonic black with metalcore, and we don't take too kindly to that around here, these dang old parts. Then they switched to a more full-on metal sound, and I never got the memo because they still got a core-ass name and a core-ass logo, and I just thought that was how things were continuing to go. Although they have a new logo since the last record, it's on the front of the record, but if you buy a t-shirt, the old logo is on the front and the new one's on the back. This is presumably because the new logo by Karmazid works great on the back of a shirt, but would look terrible on like above art on a shirt, which just all begs the question, how hard is it for homie to get a decent logo? I mean, what the hell is going on here? I bring up the logo confusion because there's always sort of been a perception of this band, and that perception has always been of a band not quite sure of who it is and almost playing catch-up. They started as a metal genre X core band in the mid-2000s. When that started to fade, they switched to symphonic black metal in the late 2000s when that was petering out. Then they were into the 20-teens where they did like a wittery, Noctmistium-y thing. As that started to fade out. Also, I could probably cut a whole ass video on how weird it is that Ken played bass on the 2024 Noctmistium record, but that's a whole thing. That's a breakdown. Their last record has the elements of the obnoxious, bright post-black that's fading out. I support bands pushing and evolving, but it gets a little suspicious when you're on the tail end of like 4 popular sounds. Honestly, I will be saying more positive about the record than you might think I would, but not until I take a big fat dump all over the closing track, No Less Than Death. Is it trend jumping? Well, not unless you think 2025 Catatonia is a trend, though Catatonia did just release the absolute worst album of their career, so Abigail Williams still gets to the party just when things are wrapping up. The beers are going away, everybody's moving on, everybody's out of drugs. This is a 9.5-minute song consisting almost entirely of clean singing with some like breathy sighs behind it, and it really comes out of nowhere. This isn't a record that's been bouncing around this kind of sound. We had no cleans before this. Things have been pretty aggressive, actually. It smacked me in the face like a fresh herring, which there is stock footage of on Adobe for some reason. If you search man smacked with fresh herring, you get like a couple of stock photo videos. One is described attractive man, and I would say, 6 out of 10. So once again, well, I am being a little confusing in this review, probably because I jump around a lot. I am left with the feeling of a band confused. So I'm just trying to give you that emotional state, man. Because the rest of the record seemed like it was attempting to be for a guy like me, until I get to the longest song on the album that makes up almost a quarter of its runtime, and it's a track I have a strong enough aversion to that it would make me not listen to the album again. Okay, but maybe you don't get turned off by just one song. Hell, maybe you like clean singing on your black metal records. I won't judge you. I will wait and do it behind your back, but that's because we live in a society. What does the rest of the record sound like? Things start pretty heavy and rather dark, actually. The album opens into full fat music with some very dissonant guitar and Campbell's thick and chunky bass. At this point, I thought I might have to eat my hat about Abigail Williams, especially when the melodic solo comes at the end that has almost like a sci-fi sound. These are things I can get into, man. What's going on here? Then we're right into another track that has some honest-to-goodness black metal atmosphere, not post-black Atmos near beer 0% atmosphere beverage. And that's the dance for a lot of this record, flowing back and forth between your aggressive and your atmospheric, your aggressive and your atmospheric. The symphonics that occasionally pop in feel a bit more like some vestigial thing than something essential, but I guess you don't need to remove those if they don't rupture. Let's hit that sci-fi closeout of the opening track because it's a perfect segue into my next point, and I'm a professional. The biggest surprise for me on the album, and the biggest surprise for me on the album is that last track. Let's try that again. The biggest positive surprise for me on the album is the creativity expressed in the guitar solos. These really are the main draw on the album for me and my absolute favorite spots on tracks. They shine out to me as an example of where I am getting something a little unique on an Abigail Williams album instead of more of an amalgam of other bands I've heard before. They do melodic, but without being cheap and without breaking the angry and depressive atmosphere. They also come at less expected moments in the song, so they have an extra hit and can surprise you. My favorite being on Talk to Your Sleep, which even got a passing, "Hey, that's cool," from my wife while I was working on the review. And for the record, the last track got a, "Is this the same record? This sucks," from my wife in passing as well. So that's two on the suck side. I'll hit you with a little clip of this solo after giving an appropriate nod to session drummer Mike Heller. He is a professional drummer, so he's been in a wide variety of acts, but he definitely seems to fall towards the technical death side of things. His drums very much tell the story that needs to be told at the moment on the record. When it's aggressive, he's pounding and whirling across the kit. When it's atmospheric, he can fall back a bit, nestling a little more in the track. And when whatever the hell that last track is, he builds the thing to its proggy rock outro solo coherently. But we're gonna listen to the solo I like more now, not... So yes, I can give full credit to the stuff I like here, and there is more of it that I like than I dislike. I'm shocked. I'm pleased. I just wish the vibes weren't so confused. A mix of aggressive and atmospheric black metal is fine by me. Throw in some wacky melodic solos and you've actually piqued my interest. Plus a drummer and a guitarist from a tech death band. Okay, I see how that could work. Yes, good ideas. And some weird symphonics on Embrace the Chasm that are less vestigial and more malignant, don't really fit in with the track and are too loud. Okay, now it's starting to seem like we've got a few too many things going on here. Don't worry, the song brings in some post-black elements. Can we chill just a bit? The closing track is 10 minutes of clean singing. Help. There's harsh vocals on it as well. Seriously, help. Sometimes there's harsh vocals and clean vocals at the same time. Can somebody please get me help? I need help. Even the production feels a little confused. The drums are too clicky. The bass gone bye-bye. Lacks atmospheric haze, but sounds a little compressed and flat. What is this mix of things? What is that? That's not a description. I mean, I guess it's pretty original. I don't know why all of these things are here. Again, it just brings me back to the top. A band that's a little confused. It's a lot of people to cycle through a band to bring in a lot of ideas. One guy who has some good ideas, he's in Knockmistium in 2024, so he's got some terrible ideas. You know who doesn't have bad ideas? Our sponsor. That's you. I'm complimenting you because we have a Patreon. You toss us a couple bucks. We don't have to put ads here. And I also, I get to give you bonus content. I have just been informed that Marlon made me look like a buffoon when I said that all of Metal Evolution was up on the Patreon because just the timing was not. So it is now all up on there, as well as other bonus content like my July tip sheet, a bunch of past banger production stuff, extended interviews that have some stuff that's never seen the light of day. So there's a whole whack load of content up there. So if you need more metal content, that's where to get it. Every once in a while, as a reviewer, I think it is useful to remind people that two records can get the same score for very different reasons. That's why there's 10 minutes of yapping attached to this instead of just like a 10-sided die appearing after the words Abigail Williams. Well, that and my overwhelming vanity. A 3 out of 5 could mean a fun album that's safe, and it can be a good score. Or it could mean an album that has some highs and some lows, and it's giving an uneven experience, and the 3 might not be as friendly. I'm rating this 3, by the way. This is probably the closest Abigail Williams has ever been to a record I'd listen to for sure. They just insist on standing in the most crowded of fields, and I've never heard them do anything better than their peers. They have started to carve a little something out for themselves here, then close it out with a track I find unlistenable. So that gives us a shocking score of, drum roll, bigger drum roll, 3 out of 5 skulls with confused eyebrows, because the skulls are confused too. Not to be a petty jerk, but I do like to josh. The last record had a Mariez Lewandowski cover in 2019. Timeless artist, phenomenal. A little late on that bandwagon. And then in 2025, we get an Elleran Kantor, a phenomenal artist, timeless. A little late on that bandwagon too, but regardless, keep that up, please. I'll only slightly rib you about those ones. Thus, we come to our shoutouts, and as the resident black metal expert of the office, reviewing a black metal record, I have 3 death metal records for you because I am also confused. There wasn't really any good black metal coming out this week. Clairvoyance is releasing Chasm of Immurament on Carbonized Records July 18th. Filth is releasing Time to Rot. That was easier to read on Misaku Nojo Records. That's not as easy to read. July 18th. And Reburied Flesh Mourning on Translation Lost Records, July 18th. So that's been the review. Those are the shoutouts. What side of the fence are you on? Some people love to talk smack about Abigail Williams. Some people love to defend Abigail Williams. I tried to give everybody a little bit of both. I did talk some smack though, so let me know in the comments if you want to talk smack about me or the record or anything, really. I love talking smack, and I also just love having a normal conversation too.